Hi, my name's Fawn, and today I'm going to be discussing a topic there's very little information about regarding Dayz, and that is something called aim curvature. I'm pretty sure that aim curvature has existed in Dayz for a long time, but it only kind of came to light since patch 1.18 when they added a slider that you could change in console. So, what am I talking about? I'm an FPS enthusiast, and I'm very mechanically oriented. So, as much precision as possible is important to me, and it can mean the difference between life and death in gunfights. So, I noticed something interesting when I was checking the preset user settings. You can open this with whatever kind of software it is. Just go to your Dayz folder and then right-click on preset user settings and then edit. You'll see all these values and parameters show up, and take note of something interesting, right? All these values are 1.0 across the board. However, these things begin to change when you go into other controllers. This is just for keyboard and mouse, right? I'm a PC user, so these are my controllers. But if you go to the Xbox has different values for their controller, as well as the PS4, as well as the IR tracker. And if you go all the way to the bottom, you'll eventually come to this modificator aiming, right? These values, these last three values, are not 1.0. These are normally 1.25 and 0.50. So what this implies to me is that aim curvature in Dayz for PC users may not in fact be linear. And I personally like the linear setting because I want a 1-to-1 ratio of my mouse to my aim in game as much as possible for the purpose of precision. So what I did was I changed these values to make them line up with the aforementioned up top. Now, what evidence do I have to prove this? What is it that implies that this might be the case? Well, for one thing, Dayz by default has some things that, you know, FPS enthusiasts would like turned off by default. However, these things are turned on. An example being mouse smoothing. I think this value is by default 30, and you also have head bob, right? These things are not good for precision whatsoever. It's basically mouse acceleration, right? These are equations that are variables in gunfights. So I recommend that you turn this off by setting the value to 0 and then hitting save. There's already tutorials about that online, but nobody's mentioned anything about aim curvature. Another quick note is I found this. This is basically a screenshot of what things look like for a console user. And as you can see, they have two settings here available to them through the sliders, right? It's camera curvature and aiming curvature. And the description says that the magnitude of the sensitivity curve, right? That's what this is. The higher the value, the closer it gets to linear. So what this tells me is that you want the maximum value on your aim curvature setting, and that should get you closer to linear. What's interesting though is that if you go in game, I'll demonstrate this. If you go in game and set your sensitivity to max, the maximum value that you get is 1.0. That's for both sensitivity and look around speed and all that. And so that's what made me decide to try to change this setting, and I felt like it was smoother. If anybody out there has more information about this, because like I said, some of this is speculation. Disclaimer, I've tried reaching out to Bohemia Interactive through the Discord several times, but it seems that the nature of my question is way too geeky for anybody there to answer. So if somebody knows more about this than I do, please correct me. Like, I'm putting this out there. You know, my disposition is one of humility. If I'm wrong, I want to know it. I'm just trying to figure out what the truth is. So let me just demonstrate that super quick. I'll change all these settings to max. Oh, also, a further note, if you want to change your sensitivity through the config, you can't do it real time. So what that means is, this is the max setting. You can see that everything's changed to 1.0 because, like I said, that's the max setting, right? Let's say I cut this in half. Oops. My bad. Where is this? Hold on, let me just do this. Okay, there you go, corrected itself. Say I cut this in half. And then I hit apply, right? I save. If I go back to the game, this stays the maximum setting. So you cannot change your sensitivity through config in real time. The only way that you can have these effects apply is by exiting the game completely. So that means the game and Steam. And then after exiting Steam completely, then you could go into your files, into your config, and once you change it here, it will apply when you go in game. Now when I launch the game again from scratch, you don't have to close the launcher, but you do have to close Steam and Dayz. Once you get in game, your settings should apply that you set in the config. And that's it. That's all I got for you. I hope this was useful. If anybody, like I said, if anybody out there can prove me wrong, please do so. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Try it out, see if it works out for you. You know, like, comment, subscribe. I stream on Twitch almost every day. I hope this is useful. And as usual, suck a big one.